What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Anime Association. And for this episode, I am your host, Kaio Tim times 10. And I am joined with my co host, Anime Addict, and our guest, Anime Silva. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good, doing good.
Doing great, doing good. How about you?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. And today we are talking about Fire Force episode 6. But before we get into that, go on ahead, click that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. Big episode today. Shinra versus Burns. The real Shinra versus Burns. They've been teasing it for like 2 episodes straight now.
Hmm.
We finally got it. And I just want, before we really dive into it, I want to know what y'all thoughts are, y'all first thoughts are on it. Addict, tell me.
Man, in my opinion, this was the best episode of Fire Force that we've ever gotten. The fight was amazing. The animation was amazing. I know people are like crapping on the animation, saying it dipped from season one. I still think it was great. Um, all the subtle hints of things that they threw in there for the plot and everything were amazing. I just think it was a perfect episode.
Okay, nice. Silva?
Yeah, I have to agree with LJ, man. Like Anime Addict. I agree that the show. Well, I don't see the dip off, to be honest with you. And that fight, I felt like this episode was just action packed. Like beyond the initial beginning, after they start fighting, it's like I couldn't even look at my phone. I was like reading the subtitles, watching it, rewinding it. That fight was amazing, and like I was like I got like the chills like watching it and watching like the Dola Link and like show. But I know we'll go into that. I think I agree with
You,
you.
you,
It was
you're
probably the
jumping ahead.
best. I'm sorry,
You,
no more
you,
jumping.
you're jumping ahead, man. But no, I agree. I agree. I do think this was the best episode that we've gotten because it started tying stuff together, started giving us new aspects to look at the series. I kind of look at the series differently after this episode.
Yeah.
And I just all around enjoyed it. But when the episodes start, we got a little bit of a Burns backstory. I'm guessing, this is all we're going to get from Burns. He started off, he was, raised in the church of Soul, a priest. And then they show us with the Joker. And after this point in time, they've already had their Adola links and saw the evangelist. But then when we get out of it, Burns is beating down on Shinra, and Joker said he's not going to step in pretty much. Addict, do you feel like he wasn't going to step in because if Shinra was the hero, he would find a way out of it type of thing?
Yeah, yeah. I think he had trust in Shinra, and I think his the knowledge that he has with the Hajime Church and the pillars and everything. I feel like he knew that Shinra with his pillar abilities, and then he ends up seeing also the blue flames that he unlocked as well. That he had trust in him to be able to beat Burns in the end.
What about you, Silva? Do you feel like he was testing to see if Shinra was the hero or not?
Yeah, I think that ultimately it felt kind of like he was like, if I save him, will that really get us to what we need to be at? Like, because Burns also seemed like he was, testing Shinra. So it's like, who was Joker to step in and try to change the events that needed to take place? Because if he stepped in, we wouldn't have seen Shinra like push past his limits. So I definitely agree with you guys. I think that Joker knew that that was the best thing to do to kind of like take a back seat and let Shinra handle this.
Yeah, I that's exactly how I feel, and I do feel like Burns was testing Shinra. Now, I don't know if Burns was doing like a double agent type of thing, like I'm the brick wall that Shinra has to get through first, or if he was just completely lost in the sauce, pretty much of I can't get out of this pact that I had with that I ended up making with the evangelist, but talking about the blue flames as well, we saw he did an Adola link with Show. Now, it's been a while since I'd seen the first 2 seasons. Was this their first Adola link? Because it seemed like Show was remembering who Shinra was, and I thought that they already went through that.
Yeah, that was confusing to me too. Do you remember LJ? Because I feel like in season two they did meet up and they had like an exchange. So it was weird that Show was like, "Oh, I think I know this person." When it's like, dude, you guys just saw each other last season.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember if when they went to Amaterasu, because Shino had an Adola link there. I'm trying to remember if Show was in there or not. I don't think he was actually.
I don't think
Um,
they physically met, but there was like a thing where they kind of like linked up in a weird space. It felt like so.
I
It was
thought
just
they fought. I thought they fought in the Amaterasu, didn't they?
no, no. The Amaterasu was there was that one demon infernal that they went to. The Shinra and Sho fought
Mm.
in season one in a like in an underground tunnel type of thing.
okay.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
That makes more sense. And okay, then they end up taking him and kind of brainwashing him or something. But then they do something like that to the show afterwards.
Well, they had been brainwashing him. I think it was just like they just pretty much were like, okay, this is what Show's doing. He's being brainwashed by the White Clads
Yep.
or Evangelists or both.
Both. Yeah, yeah.
They're one and the same at this point in time. But then we see the fight going on. Shinra's hitting Burns, and Burns is stepping up the ante at this point in time.
Right.
He goes straight stage 5. He's a burning lion at this point in time. Literally became the embodiment of what the church gave him, the title that the church gave him. But you start seeing very heavy devil imagery from Shinra. You see the creepy smile, which mirrors the evangelist smile, but it's just a little bit more devilish, right? What do you think the whole point? What do you think is going on with that, Silva? What do you really think is going on with that heavy devil imagery that was going on during that fight?
Well, like I think that this show is blurring the lines of like good and evil because like technically Burns is supposed to be like this priest who is all seeing and positive and Shinra was viewed as like a devil. Like that's his thing. He's been fighting this devil thing from day one. And I think we're seeing that like even though Shinra has devilish elements, he still is good. You know, like because Burns was supposed to be standing for something, even though like he's standing for inevitability or like the visions that he saw, like no matter what, they're gonna come true. Whereas Shinra's like, no, I believe in the people and like we can push past this and make a change. So it's a weird thing that the devil symbol is what's pushing that forward. And I think it's just trying to like mess with our brains in a sense.
Yeah, I think so to an extent. I think I agree with you to an extent. What about you, Addict? What did you feel about all that heavy imagery that was going on from Shinra?
Yeah, to add on what Silva was saying, I feel like the God's soul is basically depicted as the villain in this story. Um, so in contrast, the devil that is being born from Shinra's powers and the Adola link that he had, it's basically supposed to be the hero that saves this world in a sense. Um, so yeah, I like how it's a different story being told than like your typical like good versus evil type of thing.
The one thing I did, what you were talking about, the hero stuff and all, and everything, Shinra was talking to Burns more about, like revolting, like the generation that's being like oppressed shouldn't revolt. And that really hit Burns. And I think that's when Burns started to show Shinra his resolve and if he can step over his resolve. And I think that's kind of what the devil aspect was Shinra knocking that out of Burns, because at the end of the fight, Burns was like he was defeated not only physically but also ideologically. That's pretty much what that fight symbolized. And the Joker said it, like they're both stubborn, they both have pride. It's not going to end until Shinra passes him or Shinra dies, right? We see Burns die, but not because of the fight. It was because of a doppelganger. I'm guessing the doppelganger was a part of him, and when he died, like it came out. But have we seen a doppelganger before? Like what that? Because he said like, oh, the eye, he's a doppelganger. What is going on with that, Addict?
Yeah, I think we have seen doppelgangers before. Um, Now this thing I was trying to figure out because after Burns was defeated, his eye patch fell off, and we saw inside of his eye, it's like an empty abyss. I don't know if that's where the doppelganger was residing the entire time, and Shinra kind of freed it out. Um, but one thing I really loved, this was something I don't know if you guys or anyone else really noticed, but where Shinra like kicked that on his chest, that is where the doppelganger pierced Burns. So I think there was some symbolism there of like basically putting Burns to rest. And the whole portal thing, I don't know where that leads or exactly what that means, but if I had to guess, Burns is actually dead.
Well, so I had done a little bit of reading after I watched the episode because I was very confused by that as well. And I also took like Shinra breaking through his armor as it leaving an opening for him to kind of be pierced. I don't remember doppelgangers before, but I do agree. I think we've seen them, but not in this measure. Um, I I also wonder like does the Joker have a doppelganger if that's the case cuz they both flopped their eyes to see the future. Um and then to go further it's like I don't think Burns is dead. I think that he was just taken to another realm. And like I think we see him again. I don't know if he's going to be bad still. I don't know if he's going to be like just like somebody who's going to influence things, but I don't think Captain Burns is dead.
So I agree, but disagree with you on that. I do think that portal took him to, because the place that the evangelist resides, it's called the Adola, right? That's what it's called. That's where he's at right now. But what I do think is going to happen after this or down below, let me know if the doppelganger actually does mimic like a normal doppelganger would. I think we will see Burns again, but it's not going to be Burns and it's not going to be in front of Shinra and the Joker. Now, I do think the Joker has something else going on with his eye, but I don't think if it, he lost the opposite eye of Burns. So I think it's going to whatever if there is something residing in his eye, it's the exact opposite of whatever Burns has. Because I feel like there has to be some type of dichotomy going on between those two, especially standing behind the hero who is Shinra, because they both believe in him, but just on two totally different ends. Now, talking about protecting and believing, a new pillar was born. And the way it was said, uh now Addict at the beginning he was mentioning that Shinra is already the pillar. I that was one thing I was trying to put together if it had already been revealed he was a pillar, but we got a pillar and it was the priestess that we got from what's her name? Yeah. Uh and so what do you think she did, Silva? Like to stop that big blast that was about to annihilate them.
So it was so funny, dude, because I'm a big Arthur fan, so I was just like, "Oh man, hopefully Arthur just like does one of his plasma shields." But it was they kind of cut to her, and she's like praying, and then they do like a rainbow effect, and I don't know. Like it was some kind of magical reflection, some kind of like defensive mechanism, but they didn't really do a great job of showing us exactly how they survived it. They just showed us like a little bit of like a shimmer, some rainbow. Dude, their effects are amazing. Like they really showed out with this episode. And like the fact that they kind of pushed her to the side and like make it seem like she didn't have anything to do with it when in truth she was the one who saved them. That's why I love Fire Force, man. It's always like the ones you don't think that are like doing things from the back, like the scientists.
Yeah, no, now you. The funny thing is, when it happened, I was scouring every scene to try and find Arthur to see if it was him.
Now he was laying
And
down, bro. He was just
yeah, right. Until that very last scene of the episode. What about you, Addict?
So I believe that it is tied into the God's Soul. Back in season 2, Shinra had an Adola link where Iris was in there, and she looked a lot like the God Soul. I think that there's some correlation there, some kind of power from her that Iris is able to use when she prays to her. Um, I love how they just made it like a subtle thing. I like how they're kind of leaving like a mystery behind it and not necessarily showing us everything of how she was able to do it and what exactly she did. But like Silva pointed out, Licht was right beside her and he saw her. So he looks scared to me. I feel like he saw exactly what happened, and it's something that's like ungodly that, if everyone else were to find out, they would be like, is that really Iris?
Mm.
Yeah, that he did have a look of disbelief and fear in his eyes. Like, should I even be standing next to her right now? Uh, and then the episode really ends with the
The
crescent
goat,
moon mask.
the goat.
I don't know who it is. I don't
We
know
know
who it
who it
is.
is,
It's
bro.
like
Come
Soga King.
on.
We don't know who Soga King is. We don't know who this guy is. I just because he has his arm in there, like just like Benny, doesn't mean he's Benny. Okay, I'm just saying we don't know who it is, man. As far as I know, it's Moon Knight. Okay, he came from Marvel and came to Fire Force. Okay, so with that, is there anything else that y'all want to add? And I'll start with Addict. Is there anything you want to add? What was the high? What did you really enjoy? And if there's anything, what did you dislike about the episode?
It would be hard for me to pinpoint one thing that I liked the most because I liked the episode just so much. Like I was hyped the entire time. I did want to touch back on earlier what you were saying about Joker. I sort of feel like when because they've kind of flashed it here and there, they haven't actually showed us. But when Burns and Joker were younger, they had an Adola link where they saw the God's soul. I think with that, the doppelganger that came out from Burns was created. Like when I say created, I mean like put inside the eye. Like we didn't see it until now, but it was there. I think with Joker, he has like an angel inside that contradicts the devil doppelganger that we saw from Burns. Um, so I just love like the backstory and everything. Like I love how like we as fans are able to basically predict what is going to happen and come up with theories without actually knowing. I think that just makes it even more exciting for the series as a whole. But also the preview for next week, they did say Benny Morrow at the bottom, so it
I
is
don't
going to
watch
be.
the previews. I don't watch the
Oh,
previews. So why are you spoiling it for me, Addict? Why are you spoiling it for me?
it was in the episode, man.
God damn it! Now I just gotta drop the series. He spoiled me.
Oh
Uh,
shit,
Nah, but before we move on to Silva for that same question, do you have any predictions?
me. Um, yeah, I think Benny Morrow's just going to show out. He's going to, do a bunch of damage. Um, I also think Show is gonna. I feel like I've been saying this a couple of times now, but like Show is gonna help Shinra. He's gonna team up with him against the White Clad. I feel like there's something going on there, especially with that Adola link that they shared. Because they were both inside, and Shinra was like, "Wait for me." He said, "Wait for me." So I feel like there's something going on between them that is gonna basically make their story come full circle, and we're gonna see the two of them on the same side in the end.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think yeah, Benimaru or my bad, Moon Knight is about to come and wreck shot for sure, for sure. You say it's Benimaru, but I ain't see it with my own two eyes. So Silva, what about you? Any dislikes, anything you want to add, and what are your predictions for the upcoming of in the series?
So there was two things that I wanted to ask you guys about. One was there was when Joker's escaping with Shinra, Burns is like 43. He calls Joker like 43 or something like that, or like a
No,
number. Do you guys
52.
know 50? Okay, I don't know why I said 43. What is that? Is that like the number that he graduated with?
Cards.
Yeah, deck of cards.
Deck of cards is 52 cards.
Damn, it was
Yeah,
that easy,
yeah,
huh? Damn. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
moving on. When Shinra really like landed that kick and you saw that explosion, that devil balloon, like what was that signifying? Like was that just like the explosion of his devil power to you? Like what did that mean to you? Because like I was just like it fit perfectly, but it almost felt like almost anticlimactic. You know what I'm saying? Because like I was expecting like an explosion when it was just like a fizzle out of the balloon. Like what do you felt like that was really signifying?
I think it was something to do with the release of the doppelganger that was inside of Burns. I also sort of feel, and I don't know the exact answer for this, but I sort of feel like it has to do with Shinra and his capabilities and what he is able to do now that he has the blue flames. Um, But like you said, it did seem a little bit anticlimactic, but I do think we're gonna kinda come back to it and see, like, what the reasoning of that was.
The doppelganger thing makes a lot of sense because you're right. He kind of appears right after that. So that's actually a good point you made.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
and what I was going to say after you brought that up, it might be Shinra's doppelganger. Shinra might have his own doppelganger, right? Because
Mm.
it came out and it was very goofy. It was a very goofy looking demon throughout the whole thing. Like it wasn't like your normal infernal that you would see, but really what I think that was I don't want to say Shinra's killing intent because obviously he only wants to really kill the god, right? Soul, the evangelist. That's all he really wants. So that's kind of what I think it was. It was kind of linked to like almost like a signal of war type of thing. Like I'm here
Mm.
to take you down,
Okay.
type of thing.
I,
I really appreciate y'all coming out. This was a very good conversation. I'm excited for episode 7. We're already halfway through this core because I do believe it's in 2 cores. Uh,
Yep.
but so join us next time. But before you leave, hit that like, hit the subscribe, ring the notification, and let us know down below what you thought of the episode. Toodaloos.